Hello, I would like to welcome you to today's Microsoft Momentum webcast, Microsoft Search Solutions to Find, Use, and Share Information. For more Microsoft webcasts, go to microsoft.com/webcasts. I'd now like to hand it over to our presenter, Bob Clancy, a Mid-Market Solutions Advisor with Microsoft. Bob?
Thank you, Eric. As Eric mentioned, my name is Bob Clancy. Today we'll be talking about Microsoft Search Solution to find, use, and share information. A little background on myself. I have been with Microsoft a little over 7 years in numerous roles as a product manager, now as a mid-market solution advisor, and even worked in IT. So I have quite a variety of backgrounds in the company. So let's begin. Let's go to what we will cover. And I will try to keep it at a relatively slower pace because I do realize that some of you out there, depending on your connection speed, the screen might render or develop slowly, so I will try to do my best to go at a slow pace. What will you cover? The first thing is an overview of information management challenges and the comprehensive, what we're calling Find, Use, and Share Information, or FUSI. The next will be extracting greater value out of the search. And the next we'll be talking about finding information, using it, and sharing it. And at the end, we will end up with a demonstration. And then the final will be some resources that I will go over. This next slide is called Pains in Information Management. The key thing, if you look at the left side graph without getting into too much detail, is what this graph is saying that each, what we're calling iWorker, and it's an information worker, that's an industry terminology, is forecast to produce 3 gigabytes of content each year by 2008. So as you can see, the amount of storage and the amount of sharing information is becoming more and more of a demand. And how do you get that information out there, and how do you find that? On the left side, it's causing information management pain. iWorker spends on an average of 48% of their time searching for and analyzing information. That's about 9.5 hours per week, respectively. So if you think about it, that's, out of a 40-hour week, that's quite a lot of time, especially if you could say that I could give back maybe even 20% of that. I can give back 2 hours or 3 hours. And the next bullet says, timely access to information could separate the winners from the losers. The cost of not finding information to an organization employing roughly around 1,000 iWorkers could reach $5.3 million per year. So there is quite a large cost incorporated with the ability of people searching for and just trying to find the information that they need. And not only information, even applications. You'll find when many people are just saying, I know I have that application on here, where is it? And trying to find that. So it's just not information, it's also applications. So the pain's going beyond search. And as I said in the beginning, we're going to talk about find, use, and share. So the first one is lost productivity and comprehensive competitiveness. Just a couple of these, the time wasted searching for relevant information. Just as we mentioned before, just the percentage of time that people do with that. The number of sources are exploding. In the past, pretty much your information was on your computer or maybe even on a network share. Now we're seeing the information is not only on your computer, it could be on network shares, it could be on what we're calling SharePoints, is what we'll talk about a little bit later. It could be out on the internet, it could be just about any place. So where is that information? And also another point in this one is privacy concerns with existing solutions. How can you make sure that the information that is being shared out and need to be found is being protected? So if you think about it, if I put something out there that I don't want everybody to see, but everybody can find it, from that perspective, there is a privacy and security concern. Let's talk about use now. The inability to get timely insight out of information. The biggest bullet point, I think, is the first one, is difficulty quickly analyzing and converting information due to increased complexity. You're seeing, especially, and I had a conversation the other night with a colleague, just how much, for example, Excel, a program that has been around for a long time, how far it has really come for what people are doing within Excel and the complexity of that data. not only in Excel, but in back-end applications. You might have your own CRM solution or customer relationship management solution where data is in the background, and how do you analyze that information? The next one, retrieving information, and it accumulates on computers, and how can you share that information out? And the last one, outdated information. You start thinking about if you do keep your information on your desktop, and you in what I call a silo, you share it out only with yourself, and then someone else has that same spreadsheet or same database, and they make updates to it, your information is out of date. And then what I just talked about, information knowledge is kept in silos. How do you share this information out? Restricted exchange of information and knowledge due to disconnected teams and physical boundaries. If you have a disconnected team and you're working on a team, and if it's a team of 5 and you're sharing your information with each other, but no one else has that information, or disjointed physical boundaries. Many corporations are not just in one single building anymore. At Microsoft, for example, on our campus, there's roughly 60 buildings, and if you think of the amount of information that has to be shared or could need to be shared with 60 buildings, or for people who work out of their house. If you have to share information, how do you get that information? If it's a large file size, is that information need to be emailed? And now we're talking about even a bigger problem because now information is setting an email and taking up storage space. So those are many of the uses and the pains behind search. The next one you see here is Microsoft Information and Management Strategy. Many search vendors provide search functionality, but don't provide the ability to quickly and easily use and share the information when it's found. We at Microsoft are investing heavily in search and information management technology to ensure that the iWorkers spend less time searching for information and make it easier to find and looking for. So you can see that where we're going with our technology and how we're going to be doing it is, and we're really trying to make sure that you find, use, and share information as easy as possible. So find, quickly connect people with the information. So in Windows Vista, and that's one of the products we'll be talking about, you see that there's instant search from your desktop. You can get corporate network and intranet. So any of those things can be searched from Vista. Recognize data with live icons and previews, we'll show you that. And save frequent searches as in search folders. With Windows Search Update, you can have instant search, desktop search as well. And then from the Microsoft Office system, from Office and SharePoint, you have instant search of emails, audio recordings and notes. You have enterprise search, return sites, documents, and line of business data. And you can even connect to expertise using people searches. For the use aspect of it, and we carry everything across at this point, in Vista you can tag information with rich metadata, and I'll show you a screenshot of that in a second. You have the ability to work with documents using fixed file formats. And from the Microsoft Office system SharePoint or standpoint, you can create and participate in workflows using familiar Office programs, obviously like Word, Excel, PowerPoint. Apply usage and retention policies on the documents and emails. You can also use improved data visualization tools and use report centers for personal portals and shared spreadsheets. From a share standpoint, converting insight into organization knowledge within Windows Vista, work together using, for example, Windows Meeting Space. Windows Meeting Space, which is built into Vista Ultimate and Enterprise, gives you the ability to have an ad hoc peer-to-peer sharing session with up to 10 people at a very quick place. So we have 10 laptops in a room and you want to be able to share information across. Within Meeting Space you can do that. You can easily sync information with mobile devices. We're all using mobile devices, and we'll talk about those a little bit later. And project presentations, you can share them wirelessly. Within the Microsoft Office suite, carrying that over even as well, you can manage all your communications type within a single inbox. You can use team workspaces that span organization boundaries. and access shared information from your desktop remotely, even offline. So when you're offline, you can even share the information. So let's talk about find and quickly connecting people with the right information. The first set of challenges center around enterprise needs and challenges. Companies need a solution search that is tuned for enterprise content and provides highly relevant results. It also needs to respect security and privacy policies, and it needs to be scalable and manageable and extensible. The second area is related to the vast amount of data and often untapped expertise within the company. A byproduct of large amounts of data in an organization is a large number of repositories and finding the data. So a lot of places that data can be stored, and it's hard to find that information. This is often locked in multiple silos, like I talked about. It could be a silo of a file share. It could be even a silo of your desktop itself. Some estimates say that 80% of the knowledge that exists within an organization is considered what is called tactic knowledge, or information that is undocumented. And basically, it's the knowledge that, for example, I've worked at Microsoft 7 years. It's information that I have within my head or just within my knowledge. And how do I get that information out, and how do I make people aware that I have that information? And the last one, finally, is the user experience. The common scenario for this would be multiple search interfaces, systems and logons, no unified search. So basically, just the challenges of finding that information and where do I go? And I have multiple search UIs, and do I need to be able to have to search in very specific areas to find that information? Microsoft Search Solution Strategies. Microsoft offers search solutions for all three of these search areas with tools that deliver a seamless enterprise search across all of them. Click. Integrated user experience. There's multiple disconnected search tools within the norm today. Our strategy is to deliver an integrated user experience from the desktop, internet, or web searches. So any of these things, you should be able to do a common search from any of these, the web, desktop, or internet. It means letting users find information in context from where they are working. So if I'm working on the web, I'm working on my desktop, or I'm working on the intranet, where is that information, and giving people the ability to do that. Unlocking the data expertise. 80% of a company's information is stored in unstructured forms such as documents, spreadsheets, and presentations. This information is spread across the enterprise on file shares, websites, SharePoints, and repositories like Exchange folders, Lotus Notes, databases, and other areas. So all over the place. The other 20% of the information, it could be company information like financials, inventory, customer records, and it's stored in very structured repositories, but it's also could be very confidential information. By providing the ability to search for people inside of an internal organization as well, you're able to tap that skill. Before I talked about the knowledge that I have, how can I tap that information and people expertise? And the next would be building it in for the enterprise. And last, we want to make sure that it's built to search across all of the areas. It's secure, it's scalable, and it's measurable, or manageable, I should say. Today, there is a large integrated solution set from MSN Search to Windows Desktop Search to SharePoint services. And now with Windows Live Search, one more click, sorry about that. Windows Desktop, you have the ability to search across multiple other sources like Office SharePoint Server and the Internet. There's a lot of words on this slide, so we'll kind of move through these quickly so we can get right into the demo. But the web search, internet search for the enterprise. The first is the user experience. You see that going down the left side. It really needs to be simple and precise. It needs to be powerful, the ability for local images, news feeds. It needs to be optimized for viewing in the organization, and next generation needs to have the design. So on the right side, you'll see Smart Scroll, content, previews. You need the ability to be able to find this information very easy. Data expertise. You have a wide range of sources, best selection for integrated user experience. A single search delivers results from multiple sources. With a vast index that is frequently asked, Windows Live Search provides a search across wide ranges of sources, including web results. And Windows Live Search provides deep and powerful search categories. The next and the last one on this slide is Enterprise IT. It's a platform for enabling customization to your needs. Customized search and results in your line of business. For example, RSS feeds. RSS feeds are a very simple way of getting information out from back-end databases, SharePoint, any sources of information. And if you look here, this is a screenshot of Windows Live Search Center. And there's a couple ones that I want to talk about here. The first one over on the left side is desktop, intranet, and web results. So in one single pane, you have the ability to search not only the intranet, but intranet, but also web results showing you can see that there's emails on there, there's PowerPoints, there's web pages, there's Word documents. So for one single search, you can get all information. On the top, which is very similar to what you see on the internet, the ability to select the search scope, desktop, and intranet, and other web. So where do you want to search information? On the right side, you have a preview pane showing if you highlight something. If you can see they highlighted a web page, it shows up on the right side. And the ability to filter across the top. These little tabs across the top, emails, document, music. Very similar to what you would see if you were searching on the internet. In any search engine, you have the ability to search basically information, or if you just want to search images, for example. Desktop search, finding anything on your personal computer. On the first one, user experience, as I said before, the ability to find files and emails quickly. You need a very familiar interface and easily preview, filter, and manage results. So you should be able to do that all from a single UI. You shouldn't have to go out to multiple places to find it. From a data expertise, you have a comprehensive selection of fast, fresh results across desktop and data network shares. So if it's not on my UI or my desktop itself, is it on a share? Can I go get that information? And then indexing across all those computers. And the last one is Enterprise IT. It's easily deployed and managed, so embedded searches within any application and search with RSS feeds. So let's show a screenshot of an example of this. So this is a search in Windows Vista. So for those of you using Windows Vista, you'd be very common to see this. If you haven't, let me explain this. The first thing you see on the left side is the flexible query-based views on your files. So if you see there's the one below it says traditional folder, so everybody's used to the traditional folder size, you can also save queries based on your searching. So if you search a certain way, you can save those flexible queries on your left side as well. Along the bottom, you have a preview pane for rich information. And in the beginning, I talked about metadata. If I have a file highlighted, so if I highlighted one of these little previews, you would be able to see across the bottom things like when it was modified. You'd be able to see things like who created it. You'd be able to see if there's tags, the size, ratings, anything related to it. And this metadata is searchable. So if I search for something that's not in the document but that has a metadata, so let's say the author is Bob Clancy, if I search for Bob Clancy, it will search the metadata as well as within the document. And in the center area, you see the live icons and screenshots. What's nice about that is how many times have you created, for example, a document or a PowerPoint or an Excel spreadsheet. You don't know exactly what you named it, but you do know what it looks like. Based on different views, you can have what are called live icons. And in live icons, you can see a snapshot of the first page of that presentation. Not only presentation, Word document, anything like that, any file per se. And then intranet search. This is finding information internally. So from a user experience, you want relevant and actionable results. Best results on the first page every time. So it's like if you do a search engine off of the internet, you want to make sure that the information you have is relevant and it's fast. query corrections, one-stop search for enterprise repositories, so very easily to find and can get results. From a data expertise, people and data equally important. So the ability to built-in searches for file shares, websites, SharePoints, indexing data, which is what we talked about a little bit on that metadata, and finding people who have the expertise. And the last one for enterprise and IT, the ability to rank, having a ranking algorithm tuned for the business content, scales to over 50 million documents, and it needs to have a granular indexing. So let me show you a screenshot of this as well. So this would be an intranet search, so internally on a SharePoint, and we'll show SharePoints in the demonstration itself, but if I was internally, how can I find information? So across the top, you have the tab user interface, which is what everybody's used to. You have the advanced search options. These are all very similar to what you would search for on the internet itself. You want to narrow the search scope, so you have the ability with the alt content or narrow it down. You could do a query correction. So did you mean this? So for example, myself, I fat finger a lot of things when I type. So did you mean this versus this? You can have an alternate view, and you can also show the hit highlights. So how many times and the number of highlights that were on for that search. And this is what we talked about finding expertise. We talked about that tactic information or knowledge. Finding an external contact and contact a colleague who knows about that. So for example, you can see a picture here, and that picture is of Heather, for example. So Heather, we can see a picture of her, and we can see a biography of her based off of her site. So I'm really enhancing the ability to find information that doesn't reside someplace, but I know that Heather, for example, is the HR manager, and I know she knows information about vacations, for example. So I can search for Heather, find her, click on her site, and get right to her. So the ability to find a person and their expertise. And the last one, also built into what we're talking with SharePoint, is the ability to unlock data that's built into back-end applications or line of business, LOB. So for example, integrated on the left side, integrated with and launch customer relationship management. So for example, I'm viewing information here, but I want to be able to launch into the CRM solution or customer relationship management. I can do that directly from the site itself. I can get customer information. So this information that I'm showing here does reside in the back-end line of business applications. And probably a better way to talk about this would be from a security and privacy standpoint. Let's say, for example, you have all of your customer and financial and data information residing in Siebel, for example, or SAP. I should say SAP would probably be a good one for financials. So you have people who need the ability to be able to see that information and search in the information, but you also have people who shouldn't be able to search in information. So based on their security privileges, for example, if I have all security, I could search on fitness bike accessories and get everything about this customer. Eric, for example, might be a person who's just a person who need the ability to get an address on fitness bike accessories and maybe their phone number, but they shouldn't be able to see any of the financials or any of the sales forecasting. So all that information can be restricted down. On the right side, you could show key contacts. Again, based on my security privileges, I might have the ability to see that, but another person might not. So we're able to unlock information, but also lock it down based on your security, or your privileges, I should say, not your security. So in Search Solution Summary, let's just talk about these. I think the build's a little backwards here. I'll just go through them all so we can have them all up there. From InVista, you have the ability to search all desktops, drives, and emails. You can recognize the documents with live icons. We showed that. And you can save your frequently searches on the virtual folders. We showed that on the left side. With Office SharePoint, you can cover all the corporate network sites, line of business, we just talked about that, and connecting with expertise. So you have the ability to see people and their sites. With Windows Search, you have the ability to combine all searches actively into a single interface. So I have one place to go search for information. I can instantly search desktops, intranet, and internet and see the results in one place, and search results federated by source. So let's talk about using that information. So we found it. Let's talk about using it. So use challenges. You have your organization, integration challenges, analysis challenges. So the first one, let's talk about organization challenges. People and companies want to be able to quickly interpret search results and retrieve information. They want to be able to retrieve up-to-date information on demand. They also want to be able to organize and reuse search information, and they want to be able to synchronize that data between desktops and corporate networks, and even mobile devices. The second one of integration challenges, people and companies want to seamlessly incorporate information into familiar applications, work with information regardless of the format, and simplify the way the user experience and integrate information into management tools. So very common tools that I use every day. I want to be able to get it into there. And the last challenge, people want to synthesize the complex information into business knowledge and quickly creating presentations and documents. How can I get that out? Very easy. And leveraging knowledge and skills and generating that business insight and reusing that information. So use solutions, effectively applying information to your needs. From an organization standpoint, features include things like being able to create alternate organization structures to your file folders and virtual folders, easily be able to globally sync one button to initiate syncs across all devices, and the ability to interpret search results very easily. From an integrated standpoint, features include things like business data catalogs, which provide end users with personalized interactive business data in back-end, for example, SharePoint. It also includes centralized report center where it unifies spreadsheets, for example, KPIs or key performance indicators, and also includes the ability to move data, delete, copy, and drag all in one single search. From an insight standpoint, the features include things like integrated BI, business intelligence capabilities, dashboards, web parts. Also includes server-side spreadsheets enabling easily to get information. So I have a server-side share data that, for example, in an Excel spreadsheet that everybody can see that's shared out, but it's connected to a back-end database. And the ability to share things and reuse information with XML integration. And you'll see, not in the demonstration you don't, but one of the new features of Office 2007 is that the new file format is XML. And with XML, we really have the ability now to use that information in a broader format, in a easier way. So from a use solution, core capabilities, with Windows Vista, you have the ability to tag information. You have the ability to create virtual views. From an Office SharePoint, you have the ability to integrate information with report centers, personalized portals, and scorecards. You have the ability to customize and access to and integrate with back-end information. And in Office, you have the ability to protect and reuse business logic and gain insight from enhanced visualization. So we'll show you in the demonstration how you can see and look at information from an enhanced visualization standpoint. And the last area before we get into the demonstration is sharing, converting business insight into organization knowledge. So the first set of challenges around collaboration. People and companies want to work together dynamically and effectively in collaborative workspaces. They want to also be able to work together securely over the internet, as if they were in the same location. They want to easily create and host meetings. And they want to be able to collaborate ad hocly off the corporate network, so be able to share information very quickly. The second set of challenges is around distribution. People want to easily create, publish web content directly from a familiar application. People want to create personalized, dedicated sites for their own use. And they want to be able to filter, prioritize, and act upon ever-increasing email volumes. And the last challenge is surrounding connection challenges. People and companies want to easily find and communicate with peers, partners, and customers in multiple different ways. They also want to create and leverage people networks both inside and outside the organization. They want to integrate with partners and suppliers, for example, and they want to be able to streamline shared business processes with their partners and suppliers. So how can I get information from my partners, and how can they get information back as well? And kind of summarizing this one, from a shared solutions, the ability to convert insight into organization knowledge. From a collaboration standpoint, you want to be able to work together dynamically, simplify the virtual teamwork, leverage and collaborate workspaces, and enable real-time collaboration. From a publish standpoint, being able to push information quickly, easily create and publish web content, create and personalize sites and store and share information, and filter and prioritize and act upon the email. And from a connect standpoint, you want to be able to build high-value connections, create and leverage multiple networks, coordinate real-time with peers and partners, and include partner and customers securely. So kind of summarizing that, the core capabilities, want to be able to enable the organization to communicate and share information with peers, customers, and partners easily, quickly, and cost-effectively. So from a Vista standpoint, you have the ability with meeting space to be able to do ad hoc network sharing, which I talked about, project presentations wirelessly, being able to share those out, and share an intranet connection within a group. And that's basically what meeting space can do for you. Off the SharePoint, the ability to collaborate securely on documents in a shared workspace. It gives you the ability to connect networks of peers and partners, and to create and participate in a workflow using familiar Office applications. And you'll see that in the demonstration. And the last for Office is the ability to identify colleagues currently in a shared workspace. We showed that picture before of being able to find somebody and search on them and find their information. And to coordinate real-time in online meetings with instant messaging. You'll be able to do that right from a SharePoint itself, from audio, video, or even telephony. So let's move right into the demonstration.
I do want to remind everyone, during the demo here, you can hit F5 on your keyboard for a full screen view. Bob, go right ahead. We're seeing your demo.
Okay, I'm going to move this into Eric. I just want to make sure you can see that before we move on.
I am seeing.
All right.
Yes.
So with the demonstration here, we will show you the company is called Contoso, and it'll be a role-based workflow. To set the stage, the first one we're going to be working with is John Lauer. And Contoso and John has a new product, the SLB 500 road bike. These bikes have really great sales potential. So John wants to launch a marketing campaign with the approval of his sales, production, and marketing managers. So he wants to start it, but he wants to make sure through a workflow that Kevin, Eduardo, and Julia all agree that they should do this new promotion. So this is John's Vista desktop. The first thing he's going to do is he's going to go out to the marketing portal. So he's going to go out on an intranet SharePoint. He's going to log in as himself. Securely, he has a password, so not everybody is able to get into here. This is the SharePoint itself. So he wants to upload campaign document related to this SLB bike. So the first thing he's going to do is he's going to go and he's going to upload a document. So he will browse to a location on his desktop. He finds the SLB promotion campaign, so he finds the Word document. He highlights that. Let's remember, slow down and make sure this is visible to everybody. So now that he's found that document, he's going to click OK. He's going to give this document a title, even though the document has a file name itself already. He's going to give it a title. The title will be SLB_promo_campaign. And then the campaign, he's going to select this as a 2006 marketing strategy. Clicks OK. And now that document you'll see in the middle of the screen, SLB promo campaign. And you can see that it was new, and it was modified by John Lauer. And what you're seeing here is the marketing department's SharePoint. So Kevin is in charge of this, for example. He has the ability to add things to it. Some other people might not. Maybe they'll be able to view certain things only. So the next thing he wants to do is he wants to create a workflow. And why he wants to create this workflow is he wants to make sure that all three of the people that he's working with, so all three of the people that we talked about in the beginning of Kevin, Eduardo, and Julia, all make sure that they do their part. So the first thing he comes down to is he clicks Workflow. And in Workflow, he's going to do approval process. So he clicks Approval. And on this screen, he's going to put in the people who are responsible. And those people, again, were Kevin, Eduardo, and Julia. So he puts in their email aliases. He resolves those aliases. So you can see Kevin, Eduardo, and Julia now are going to be responsible for approving this workflow. He's going to type in a message that they will see. So Kevin, please review the sales forecast. Eduardo, are you okay with the tires? On the tires. And Julia, please kick off the direct campaign in CRM. So everybody has a task. On the CC line, he's going to put in workflow. So that's the alias of all the people who will be able to see. They're not responsible for doing anything on the workflow, but they would be able to see the workflow as it's going along. He's going to start this workflow. And now he's back to his SharePoint itself. So now we're going to log out with John, because he is done. And the next person we're going to talk about is Kevin. So Kevin is a sales manager, and his interest is the viability of any of these products, so specifically on the SLB 2500 campaign. So Kevin opens up Outlook, and the first thing he sees is he has an email. You'll see on the top there is an email, the workflow. He opens this up, and in here he sees that he has to approve his, and it's please review the sales forecast. So the first thing he wants to do, using his familiar, he's used to using Outlook, he wants to be able to pull some information, key performance indicators or KPIs from Excel, from the back-end CRM solution, Customer Relationship Management, to be able to get some information about this. So first thing he does is he comes into and he sees that he has the workflow in that SharePoint. He's now on the left side. I'm going to slow down a little bit here. On the left side, from within Outlook itself, he came over and he clicked on BI Cube Excel information. So from Microsoft CRM, in the marketing folder, he gets the BI Cube Excel. So basically, this is going to be back-end database from the CRM solution that will show him some analysis and KPIs to show if this is going to be a viable promotion. So he opens this Excel spreadsheet. He maximizes the spreadsheet, and this is, for those of you who are not familiar with Excel 2007, this is the new view of how a pivot table would look in Excel. Over on the right side, you see the pivot table list, and you can drag and drop and make different views. So the first thing he wants to do is he wants to get some information about this. So he comes down, and he highlights the information on road bikes. Next, he goes up to conditional formatting, and this is another new feature in 2007. Conditional formatting is not, but the ability to easily do this. So the first thing he comes up to is he wants to do data bar charts, and he's going to select the blue ones. And you can see here, a visualization standpoint, he can truly see how this will look. The next thing he wants to highlight is tie cycles, because tie cycles is really an area that's going to be focusing on these bikes. And he sees that tie will be definitely, these new bikes will definitely help them in their sales, because they are kind of low. They're third from the bottom. So he really wants to make sure that they have the ability to do something with this. So he comes in, and the next thing he's going to do is he's going to approve it. So he clicks on Please Approve. he comes in here and he's going to type his message saying that he approves this. He approves it, and he please review and provide input. So basically, he's moving it on to the next person, which is Eduardo, to make sure that Eduardo feels that this campaign is viable itself. So he approved it, put his note in. He's back to the SharePoint, closes out the SharePoint, closes out Excel. Doesn't want to save changes to it because he just wanted to see the view of it. He closes out of Outlook, and he is now going to log off. So the next person is Eduardo. So Eduardo is Contoso. He's a production manager, a planner at Contoso, and his responsibility is to ensure that the anticipated sales of the SLB 2500. So he opens up Outlook as well, and the first thing he sees is that he's the next person in the approval state. So he opens up the workflow, or that email, to see that he has the workflow. He opens up SharePoint directly from within that email itself, maximizes it. And what he wants to do, he wants to see what this will do for generating sales, and he needs to make sure that the production capacity can handle the demand. So the first thing he does is he logs into the CRM Dynamics solution, and he goes in to look at the inventory. So he sees that the inventory for the bikes, the tires that we needed for these bikes, and he sees that there's a physical inventory of 700. But the marketing plan calls for 1,000. So he knows he's going to need to order more. So he wants to make sure that the supplier of these tires has availability of inventory. So he goes out to, this is the people, the company Fabrichem. They are the ones who create the tires. So he's going to log in from his standpoint. He can log into their external portal. So we're a partner of them. And we can go and look at product availability. So he goes and searches for the tire. He sees, oh, sorry, went too fast there. If you would have saw that screen, I can't back up because it will kind of mess up the demonstration here. But what he saw there was that he sees that they only have 15 units available, but he sees that they're going to have 5,000 in the next couple of months. So he really knows that they're going to have the supplies to be able to handle this. So he comes in and he's going to approve this one, and he's going to send it off next to Julia. He reviewed the production capacity, and he feels we can support the demand. So he approves it. He logs out of the SharePoint. He's going to log out of email itself. He's going to log off of his desktop. And the last person in the workflow is now Julia. Julia is a marketing director, and her job is to make sure that the mid-sized business limiting marketing budget is never wasted. So because it's a mid-sized business, money is always very tight, and she wants to make sure that that money is used wisely. So the first thing she does is she logs into Outlook as well, and she sees that she has a workflow to be approved. So she goes into the SharePoint as well. She sees that Kevin and Eduardo, if you see in the middle, has completed theirs. Julia is next. So she wants to be able to see, is this viable for the area? So the first thing she clicks on is over on the left side of Microsoft CRM, is she's going to click on MapPoint. MapPoint is a product that Microsoft has that can integrate into CRM solution, and from a single click, she can see the sales by area. So she can highlight a specific area within MapPoint. So she highlights an area, highlights the area around Seattle. She drills down into that area. She highlights over a specific vendor, which is Thai, and she sees the sales by area. So integrated into Outlook, we have CRM data, which is integrated into Microsoft MapPoint, and MapPoint will show them by area, the sales by area, and the revenue. So because of this, she wants to launch the campaign immediately. She feels confident on this one. So she's going to say no. She's going to come into the CRM solution, again, not going out to another application. She's doing it directly from within Outlook. She opens up the SLB Tour de France campaign, which is marked as proposed. She opens it up. She changes it from proposed to launch. Saves that. She comes back into the workflow, puts in her comments. Right, my team will get started on marketing it. She approves that. And now you can see from this screen here that Kevin, Eduardo, and Julia have all, in a very logical flow, approved based on intelligent information, based on SharePoint, Excel, CRM solutions, MapPoint, all made some very viable and very specific decisions based on this. She's going to log out of Outlook. And we are done. So Eric, can you take control again for a second?
Okay, here we are. Next steps.
So the next steps, if you want more information about finding, using, searching, and information, Fusey, please, you can go out to this website, www.microsoft.com, WAC 50%. To download and install Windows Desktop Search, you can go out to this location as well. I'm not going to read that one out. It's quite long. And if you want to attend or view on-demand webcast, you can go out to this website as well. And if you need any information on how to integrate any of the information that we saw today, please feel free to contact your local Microsoft partner.
Okay, I do want to remind everyone you can submit text questions using that Ask button down there towards the bottom of your screen. We will be getting to questions in just a moment. For upcoming and previously live webcasts, go to Microsoft.com/webcasts. The on-demand version of this webcast will be posted within 24 hours. You can just, when you go to Microsoft.com/webcasts, you can just go to the on-demand webcast section and you'll be able to find today's webcast on demand. If there's anything you missed, you can check it out again. If you've got a webcast content idea, we'd love to hear from you. You can contact us via this URL right down here. Do you want to get the survey up here and just remind you all that by attending today's live webcast and filling out an evaluation, you will be entered into a drawing for a Zune portable media player. Nice little incentive there to fill out the survey. Really simple. You can just click on one of those links there that should be showing up in on the slide, registered online, or all other registrants. Just select the one that applies to you. You can go ahead and fill out the survey. You can give numeric scores to the survey. There is also a comment section, and we do read those. So if you have any comments, go ahead and fill that out, and we'd love to hear from you, get some feedback. And Bob, I see we got a question or two in the queue. Would you like to answer those verbally?
Sure. Can I open up Question Manager? Whoops, my mouse disappeared on me. Maria's was thank you. So you're welcome. Leon, workflow, is this part of SharePoint functionality? Yes, with SharePoint services and SharePoint Server, both of them have workflow built right into them, so that is part of the SharePoint functionality. Those are the only two questions that I see right now, Eric.
Okay, those are the only questions I was showing as well. So I do want to thank Bob Clancy for presenting today, and thank everyone for attending today's webcast. I encourage you to fill out that survey before you leave, but that does conclude today's Momentum webcast. You may now disconnect from the audio portion of this conference.